Did you see that? Yes, they're going to destroy Springfield. But we're going to stop them. Homie, get your clothes on. Homie?
Those people chased us with pitchforks and torches. Torches! At 4 in the afternoon!
It was 7 at night.
It was during Access Hollywood.
Which is on at 4 and 7.
Go!
Two-way me.
Hit it.
Okay, so just like the Powerpuff Girls movie, I was one of the 5 people that saw Hey Arnold the movie in theaters. I mean, like, come on, can you blame me? Arnold's best friends with Little Romeo, the Little Romeo. Can you believe it?
You know Arnold and I go way back in the day. In fact, we grew up in the same neighborhood together. They lived in a little cartoon house right across the street from me and my pops. He could do anything, basketball, music, acting. Arnold, you're half kid, half amazing.
You know what? Fuck it. This is now a video on the Little Romeo show.
Hey, roll, watch it flow. It's time for the Romeo show.
Hey Arnold the movie wasn't supposed to be a theatrical film. Originally, it was supposed to be a TV movie, a standalone adventure, while the Jungle movie was supposed to go to theaters and cap off the series. But since this one was further along in production, Nickelodeon threw the crew a little bit more money and sent this to theaters instead, to sort of follow that trend of animated shows sea walking away in the theaters to catch the quick bag real quick. You know, I actually kind of like missed this era, but I'm glad they chilled before we ran out of shows. Would've like fucked around and got like a Pelswig movie or something. Yo, y'all remember Pelswig?
Get on with it.
Bitch! Over the years, I've always kind of heard people say that they found this film either bad or forgettable or just like mediocre. And I mean, I don't know. I've always loved this movie, even back from when I was a kid. But like, I've been thinking a lot recently, and I've engulfed myself in listening to consecutive criticisms of the film. And I began to ask myself,
Man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
so here we are. This is an objective. Films based on animated series usually tend to have the same task in mind, which can definitely sometimes result to its downfall. They have to present a story that's bigger in scope than the events of the series, that justifies leap to theaters. They definitely have to please the fans, but also they have to somehow fill newcomers in on what they've been missing throughout the events of the series and reestablish the world. Films are a big gamble after all. They take a lot of time and cost a lot of money, especially theatrically. So they wouldn't just want to market to fans, that'd be dumb. They gotta appeal to the masses while creating something that stays true to the show that the fans love. Sounds like I'm talking in circles, but that's what I'd imagine that doing something like this feels like. To be fair, the story that they went with definitely feels grander in scope though. Arnold and Gerald's neighborhood is threatened when Sheck, a suave businessman with a fit game that's to the gods,
Nice soup.
wants to tear down the neighborhood and build up a fancy mall. Arnold finds out the neighborhood is a national landmark because of some tomato tax shit, and him and Gerald try to find a document that declares their block a national landmark. Hey Arnold was always a show that was about its community. I'd even say that it's more about that than Arnold himself. So it makes sense that the film would be about the community being in danger. And this is a great way to get new audiences to care about the characters on the screen. But like, okay, so let's talk about openings. The Steven Universe movie opens with sort of a storybook telling of the show up until that point, simplifying it so that if a newcomer were to decide to start watching at the movie for whatever reason, it'd be an easy transition. The Powerpuff Girls movie is literally the origin story, which I know it faced criticism for that, but it works. It really works. It reintroduces all of us to this world. Hey Arnold the movie though, okay, so like if you know these characters, I always kind of felt like this opening was fine. We see a neighborhood that we've grown attached to all of these years getting destroyed, and we want to know what's going on. But even then, we kind of gotta settle our feet, you know? When you're writing a movie, you have to establish a tone, sure, but you're not really supposed to start with your main conflict. Something leading up to it, sure, maybe, but it being the first thing we see after the sneezing Nickelodeon logo.
Start the movie, have some stuff happening, and then like 10 minutes in, some big stuff needs to happen. And right about 30 minutes in, that's your first act. So you need like some stuff that changes that stuff. And then you go to Act 2, and at the end of Act 2, we have all this stuff that then turns all that stuff on its ear. And like all these things, is all Act 3 is all these things that like gives reason for all this stuff before that. You know, people are gonna be like, whoa, you know, because just like how much stuff. and how stuff in Act 2 came from Act 1, but then the Act 1 stuff sort of related to the things in Act 3. You know, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so like they explained that way worse than I remember. I mean, like, you guys got it though, right?
No, you fucking asshole. Explain shit better. Your videos suck.
It's a good thing I'm deaf. And you know, if you're new, there's no build-up. You can't care. You don't feel anything. You're confused. You're like, who's this dick nose nigga? I didn't know Squidward lived in the fucking Bronx. The whole movie is kind of like that. It definitely feels like a TV movie in that regard. The pacing's so fast. They hop right into they're gonna destroy the neighborhood bag too quickly. And while we're at it, I'm not sure if they even did a good job at establishing what the show is like either. Like, in the middle of the movie, Arnold and Gerald have to find a way into the Future Tech building, so they pull up on fucking Agent Cody Banks over here and get a whole bunch of spy gear and black suits, and it's like, what?
Gerald?
They're spies now? Nothing like that happened in the show. I mean, granted, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it doesn't work, but this isn't Spy Kids 4 presented in fucking smell-o-vision. Oh my god. Oh god, what is that? Oh, this smells like the worst thing ever. What is that? Oh, okay. I don't know, that doesn't make it a bad film, just kind of a troubled one. While pacing is extremely important in film, I'd argue that character is more important. And one of the best things about Hey Arnold was this rich and massive cast of characters. Huh? But I can't hear you. What? Oh, fuck. Fam, there's like 80 fucking characters in Hey Arnold and they're all non-existent. While I love the first SpongeBob movie to pieces, I remember this being a big problem I had with it too. Like, I don't know where the fuck Sandy was for all of this, but holy shit, this movie does it 10 times worse. How is this a story about the neighborhood and yet we barely see the neighborhood? I'd understand if it's like the Simpsons movie where it consistently cuts back and forth to show how this type of shit affects the town. But there's none of that. And they choose the strangest fucking characters to spotlight. Fam, this green meats nigga gets so much screen time you think he's a major part of the series or something. This nigga has more lines than Phoebe. Where the fuck is Phoebe? She's literally Helga's best friend and her role in the film is like non-existent. These clips I'm using are literally the only time she's on screen. You can't make this shit up. Instead, the film focuses on Arnold, Helga, and Gerald, which, in theory, makes sense.
In theory.
Arnold's the namesake of the show, and Helga and Gerald were always treated like secondary mains. But they weren't the only characters. Show us Rhonda, show us Curly, show us Eugene. Shit, show us everybody on the fucking poster. Phoebe isn't even wearing the right fucking colors in the poster. That's how little of a shit they gave about her. Man, fuck this, I'm pissed. Hello, Nickelodeon? Let me talk to Craig Bartlett, creator of Hey Arnold. I got some shit I want to say. Yeah, I'll hold. I'm not even like mad anymore. Even when they try to have the other characters show up, it's like in the strangest moments with like some of the most awkward crowd shots. When the bulldozers are about to roll, there's like these shots of everyone in their pajamas looking outside in amazement and awe. Oh wow, what time is it, dude? Hey Arnold, you need a fucking VCR? Okay, but like, why isn't everyone moved out the morning the fucking bulldozers are supposed to rip their whole hood apart? Like, why are they still here? You niggas that suicidal over this fake ass Bronx neighborhood that you wouldn't leave when you can literally watch the clock strike 0? Look at this thing. Hello, this is Craig Bartlett, creator of Hey Arnold.
Neither film is really animated too well. You can tell with Reese's that it does have slightly higher production value than the TV series, but it's nowhere near the usual quality of Disney. You'd think this wouldn't be too hard to beat in terms of quality, so it's amazing that Hey Arnold doesn't even come close. This film looks terrible.
That clip was from an old video by the animated heroine. I remember her video comparing this film to Recess School's Out being the first time I heard anyone say anything about this film, let alone something bad. Okay, so unpopular opinion, I'm not as hard on this animation as everyone else is. The director is Tuck Tucker, who's directed some of the best looking Arnold episodes. The poses are still really expressive, and some of these shots definitely feel cinematic in some parts. The colors are pretty dirty, but I not only think that it adds to the urban setting, but the desaturation kind of makes it fit better for cinema, like they did with the South Park movie. But man, they really made some weird choices. Why the fuck are Arnold, Gerald, Helga, and the villain the only characters with shading? This shit is so fucking distracting. They even go as far as to color Arnold and Helga's outlines, but like only Helga's bow and not her dress, and like none of Arnold's clothes that's not his hat. Fam, I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at anymore. And I'm sorry, but this shit was really bothering me. Who the fuck told them to shade with the airbrush tool? This shit is so fucking thick. Why is it so thick? Arnold looks like somebody jizzed an orange on his whole left side. Yo, Arnold, you good? The motion is kinda It doesn't really move any better than the show, not even in a few shots. I mean, like, maybe besides Big Bob, Incredible Hulk, but like, I'm actually kinda good on that, big bro. Thanks though. Helga is a fucking joke. Helga was high-key always the best written character in Hey Arnold. With a neglectful father and alcoholic mother, her identity dilemma, and episodes that dived into why she is the way that she is, always were the strongest and deepest aspects of the original cartoon. Helga still has the same snarky one-liners like she always does in the show, but her character's handled really awkward for the last probably quarter of the film. When Arnold and Gerald learn that the document that they need is in the hands of Future Tech Industries, the company that the villain owns that's supposed to bulldoze the neighborhood, they kind of just like try asking for it. I don't know why they thought that would work. You think you could just talk to the villain? My nigga, this ain't Steven Universe. Throughout the film, they get calls from a mysterious figure named Deep Voice. Deep Voice tells them things that they wouldn't know otherwise. The key to the safe with the document in it is around the neck of Nick, a guy who works for the villain, and the keys in the villain's office, etc, etc. It's revealed around the climax of the film that Deep Voice was actually Helga, hiding her identity and trying to help Arnold at the same time. Honestly, this isn't even off-brand. This bitch used to climb through this nigga's vents, for crying out loud. When Arnold finds out who Deep Voice is, Helga confesses her love for him and ultimately spills the beans.
Oh, beans. Oh, come here, you big lug. I'm confused. Did you just say you love me? What? Are you deaf?
I always really like this scene. The poses are great, the way Helga explains herself is really on brand, and Arnold consistently getting pushed back into the corner really makes you feel the tense nature of the scene. So, what's the problem? It doesn't fucking mean anything.
You didn't really mean all that, did you? You don't really love me, right? Right. You were just caught up in the heat of the moment, right? Right. You actually hate me, don't you?
Man, when I tell you that I hate this type of shit, what's the point of giving fans a moment like this if it's not going to fucking mean anything? Helga's feelings for Arnold were literally built up since day one of the series, back when these niggas was fruits.
It's fruits! It's fruits!
A common thing I've heard about this film is that people consider it kind of a waste of time. And when you think of moments like this, that critique really makes a lot more sense. Moments like this make the film feel hollow and take away from what it's actually about. In 2007's The Simpsons movie, Homer Simpson, through all of his faults, learns a valuable lesson in the end. The story, on surface, may be about the destruction of Springfield, but it's really about Homer learning not to be selfish, to own up to his mistakes, and to protect his loved ones. By this point, his arc in the film is complete, and we now know that everything in the story happened just to get him to this point.
In order to save myself, I have to save Springfield! That's it! Isn't it?
No one in Hey Arnold the movie has a single story arc. The most you could probably say is like Gerald, who I guess learns like optimism. And I mean, like, okay, I'll give credit where it's due. I always kind of thought these callbacks were dope.
Why do you do that, Arnold? Why do you always have to look on the bright side? Somebody has to. I know you can.
Why do you always have to do that? Why do you always have to look on the bright side? We can save the neighborhood. We can find the document. You can drive the bus.
Because somebody has to.
What do you say we go shoot some hoops?
Gerald, our ball's flat, remember?
No. Just a little low on air.
Wait a minute. Now you're looking on the bright side?
Somebody has to do it.
But it's so base level. There's literally nothing that elevates the film beyond this. By deduction, that would make this Gerald's story, and it's obviously not. But there's no theme. No one else learns anything. Is it about gentrification? I mean, the whole neighborhood has to move out to make way for bigger businesses. I mean, not really. The word sell is used a bunch of times in this movie.
Oh, don't worry, Arnold. You won't sell the boarding house.
What does it mean?
It means they want us to sell out and move away so this Sheck character and his big corporation can move in.
Sheck owns the whole block now, except for us. I have to sell.
They kind of acknowledge that everyone will be fine after the bulldozers roll. They'll kind of just like miss their hood. There's no satire on how gentrification affects urban neighborhoods aside from a, yo, these fucking handprints we made illegally? Missed them shits, bro. My son's a vegan. Fucking hate vegans. Is it about optimism? Well, again, it's only brought up like 3 times unless you count Arnold's persistence to save his neighborhood the entire movie. But that's like more persistence than optimism. There's no, you know what, Arnold? You were right. It just kind of ends. The original show dealt with a theme every episode. Mugging, addiction, depression, embarrassment, facing your fears, fucking child neglect. It went beyond just the normal overdone morals about like why bullying was bad. Hey Arnold was a show that was about something. It was complex, it always was. It told its audience something every single time it spoke to them. While I'm not sure that I'd say Hey Arnold the movie is a full-on bad film, it's definitely incomplete. Among its other issues, it's missing that little bow that would tie it together that would make it even half as worthy to be compared with something like Helga on the Couch. And it's strange, you know? You think that when the show presents its greatest adventure yet, it'd supply us with its greatest theme yet. But it doesn't. Instead, it just kind of gives us nothing.
Show's over, Eugene.
You can call me Bass Jesus, the Bass Messiah, Bass Buddha, ha. My hat back like Arnold, I'm swagged out like Arnold. My wallet fat like Harold, stay faded like Gerald, like Helga. I'm so mean, you clumsy like Eugene. Better stay on your stick kid or I'll knock you off your stick kid. Looking like Sid, yo big ass nose kid. Yo girl tall and linky, I call that bitch stinky. Fly like the pigeon man, I'm high like the pigeon man. Wish you could be as high as me, you better call up Peter Pan. Living in that boarding house, fucking Lila on the couch. Ain't no Hey Arnold imposter, you broke like Mr. Kakashka. I saw your face in Wild Big Bang Boom Pow, feeling like Ronnie Matthews. I saw you, I had to have you. Bad bitch like Phoebe, you know you can't see me. That Asian persuasion gon' make me go crazy. Girl, stop playing, you know what I'm saying. I like you and I sure hope that I'm persuading you to come down to the vacant lot. We could do a whole lot, I could do better spitting this gold. Hey Arnold!
Milo Murphy's Law.
I stopped right before Phineas and Ferb got there and it got really weird.
Me too, damn it!